Well, Doctor. So we meet again.
We do.
We're gonna play with some Chat GPT.
Always a good time.
Well, so the idea is to talk to Chat GPT about history and theory of conspiracy theories, but we're gonna veer off into 100 other things.
Oh yeah, I mean,
that's just so
we've done it before. I mean, veered off into some weird territory.
Never happens ever.
I mean, rarely it has happened before. But yeah, when you said we want to do like a conspiracy theory history, the history of conspiracy theories. Let's have ChatGPT give us a rundown of the history, and then we can fucking talk shit about them.
I agree.
Or theorize about them, if that's a word.
Theoreticize?
Yeah,
That's the
one. Yeah.
Let's fucking do it. Let's get rid of that.
We gonna get a sassy bitch again?
What was her name? Monday? Monday, are you there?
Hey, Dr. Dave, what's up?
That's a different dude.
Hey, Dr. Dave. Got it. If we're talking about a totally different character or something entirely new, just let me know the details. I'm here to help shape it however you want.
You know what? You're okay. Monday was kind of rude to us.
Well, I'm glad I could be a bit friendlier than Monday. We'll just call this a no rudeness zone. If there's anything else I can do to make the rest of the week run smoother, just say the word.
The rest of the week?
We don't have to do no rudeness. We can have a little sass. It's okay.
Oh, absolutely. A little sass is always welcome. We can sprinkle in as much cheekiness as you want. So if you want to sax Monday right back or just have a little fun with it, I'm totally here for that vibe.
Nice, dude.
So Dr. Spence is joining us today.
Good afternoon.
Hey there, good afternoon. So we got Dr. Spence in the mix too? Perfect. We'll keep things fun, a little bit sassy for both of you. Let's make this a good one.
I like this guy.
Yeah. He's
pleasant.
I like his accent too.
Yeah. What accent is that? Is that English?
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, you could say it's kind of a friendly English accent. Just here to make things a bit more charming. If there's any other style you want me to switch to, just let me know.
Yeah, it's definitely English, but a little watered down. I kind of dig it.
Well, I'm glad it's working for you.
Could you switch it to an Australian accent?
I was just thinking the same.
Absolutely, I can do that. Let's switch it up a bit and go for a nice Aussie accent instead. So from here on out, we'll keep it a bit more down under. Let me know how this suits you.
Did I tell you about, I think Aussies would make the worst supervillains?
No, but that's...
Holy fuck, mate. You don't pay me $1 billion. I'm going to blow this fucking place up. Being fair dinkum with you. Like, you couldn't take him seriously.
No. You'd just be part of the comic relief, I guess.
Yeah, you'd be like, holy shit, should we pay this guy just to keep him talking?
There's got to be a movie where the villain is Australian. There's got to be.
Hey, Monday, is there a movie where the main villain is Australian?
Bro, there definitely is. One that comes to mind is actually from the Mad Max series. In Mad Max Fury Road, you've got some Australian baddies in there. Since it's all set in Australia anyway, it kind of fits the bill. And you're totally right, it would be kind of hard to take a supervillain seriously if they're just like, oh, mate, fork over $1 billion or we'll blow the place. It definitely adds some comedy to the chaos.
I already like where this is going.
Yeah.
What about an American movie where there's an Australian villain?
Sure thing. So there are definitely a few American movies with Aussie villains. For example, in the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie, the character Kano is played by an Australian actor, Josh Lawson, and he's definitely got that Aussie baddie vibe going on. So yeah, they do pop up in Hollywood.
What in the movie Commando, does he have an Australian accent?
Oh, he does.
Yeah, you got it. In the movie Commando, the main villain Bennett is indeed played by an Australian actor, Vernon Wells.
He's in Mad Max. Let off some steam, Bennett.
Love, exactly. That line is just classic Arnold. And yet Bennett is definitely mocking that kind of Australian vibe. So there you go, you're right on the money with that one.
How about let's talk about conspiracies? Where did the origin of conspiracies begin?
Conspiracy theories.
Yes, conspiracy theories.
Oh, diving into the deep end, I like it. Well, conspiracy theories have been around for ages, probably as long as humans have been swapping stories and wondering about hidden motives. You can trace them back to ancient times when people speculated about secret plots in politics or behind major events. And then, of course, in modern times, they've just exploded with the internet. So really, they've always been with us. Just part of human nature to wonder what's secretly going on behind the scenes.
What is the most searched conspiracy theory in America?
So in 2024, a few big conspiracy theories really stood out in the US. Some of the top ones were around the 2024 presidential election, with a lot of unfounded claims of voter fraud popping up. There was also a quirky theory about winter fog supposedly being toxic. People called it FogVid24. And then you had the ongoing fun of the birds aren't real movement, which is kind of a parody theory claiming that birds are actually government surveillance drones. So yeah, a mix of political and just plain quirky theories have been on people's minds.
What about, in general, overall, what is the most searched conspiracy theory?
So overall in 2024, a couple of big conspiracy theories really stood out. One of the most searched was actually about Hurricane Milton. People were talking a lot about this idea that it was some kind of weather manipulation to influence the US election. And another huge one revolved around the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. There were all sorts of theories about a second shooter and political motives. So those were some of the biggest ones this year.
What about biggest overall?
Got it. If we're talking biggest overall, like of all time, one of the most enduring and most searched conspiracy theories is probably the JFK assassination. It's just one of those massive historical events that sparked countless theories about multiple shooters, government cover-ups, and so on. And if we go even broader, things like the moon landing being faked or Area 51 and aliens, those have been huge, long-lasting favorites in the world of conspiracy theories. So those are some of the big ones that have stood the test of time.
Yeah, most of those we've covered. JFK is another big one that we haven't talked about really, but that's one that seems like is pretty undeniably untrue in the facts that we have out there.
I know shockingly little about the JFK assassination.
Really?
Like, insanely small amount.
Can you can you describe for us what the trajectory of the magic bullet supposedly was?
Absolutely. So the magic bullet theory is one of the most famous parts of the JFK assassination discussions. Basically, it's the idea that a single bullet hit both President Kennedy and Governor Connolly, and it supposedly changed directions multiple times in a kind of bizarre trajectory to cause all the wounds. The Warren Commission said that this single bullet went through Kennedy's neck and then hit Connolly, and that's where the whole magic bullet nickname comes from. It's definitely one of those things that people have debated for decades.
That's what that is.
Yeah. So yeah, the theory is that what the story is that we've been told is that it was one shooter shot Kennedy from behind, hit him in the neck, and then went through into Connolly. But it was like it had to make like a 90-degree turn to go and hit the other guy, and then found it lodged in his arm, and the bullet itself was pretty much undamaged after going through like 15 inches of human flesh.
What is this bullet made out of tungsten? Jesus.
Yeah.
So, have you ever read the book by, what is his name? Colonel...
Yeah, it definitely sounds like one of those almost too wild to believe stories, which is why it's fueled so...
My guidelines won't let me talk about that. Can I help you with something else?
Interesting.
Why won't your guidelines allow you to talk about it?
Well, I'm definitely happy to dive into these kinds of historical theories and just chat about them. There's nothing in my guidelines that stops me from talking about it. So if you've got more questions, feel free to fire away and we'll keep it interesting.
Okay. The book We Were Soldiers, he talks about in one part, a bullet will go into somebody in one spot and leave in another spot. Like he saw a soldier get shot in the chest and the bullet exited his knee. So it's possible, but you're talking like a fluke, and the fact that it's not fragmented at all is just total horseshit.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about a bullet, I don't know what caliber he used, but let's surmise it's around 2,000 feet per second. Any object moving that fast is going to be damaged by whatever it contacts.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to mushroom out, even just by impacting flesh, it'll usually mushroom out.
Yeah, or if it ricochets off a bone, it's going to spall a little bit too. It's just...
Yeah, exactly. And that's why the whole magic bullet idea is so controversial. I mean, sure, bullets can definitely do weird things and take unexpected paths, but having one come out almost pristine after going through multiple layers of bone and tissue is a big reason why people just keep coming back to it. So yeah, it's one of those things that definitely makes for a lot of debate and a lot of head scratching.
What about the theories that talk about Lee Harvey Oswald being maybe working for the CIA or working for a black government agency?
Yeah, absolutely. That's another big branch of the whole JFK conspiracy tree. A lot of theories have suggested that Lee Harvey Oswald might have had some connection to intelligence agencies like the CIA or some kind of shadowy government operation. The idea is that he wasn't just some lone wolf, but maybe a pawn or even a trained operative. And you get a lot of speculation because of his background. He'd been to the Soviet Union, there were weird gaps in his history, and it just all adds fuel to that fire. So yeah, that's a pretty popular angle that a lot of people have looked into.
I recently heard about, I think it was Congresswoman Luna was talking about, there's allegedly a video of Lee Harvey Oswald being in the crowd when it happened.
Oh, that's an interesting tidbit. Yeah, there are always these little bits of lore that pop up. I mean, the JFK assassination is one of those events that just keeps spawning new claims and rumors over the years. So if someone's talking about a video of Oswald supposedly being in the crowd, that's definitely one of those newer twists on the old story. It kind of shows how this whole topic just never really stops evolving, with new theories popping up all the time.
Yeah, so I recently was listening to a conversation, a podcast, I think it was, or something about the JFK assassination, and it said that Lee Harvey Oswald served in the military, and then after that he defected and went to Russia, the Soviet Union, and lived there for a while, and then all of a sudden came back and then was granted, like, they let him come back with no like repercussions or anything like that. So his whole history was kind of weird. And then there was people who came out and said that they were visited by these men in black or whatever, and there was a few different people who claimed to be Lee Harvey Oswald or used the alias Lee Harvey Oswald prior to that shooting. So there was there is a lot of controversy about who he really was and what he was doing here.
To defect to the Soviet Union and come back during the Cold War is...
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a huge reason why people find the whole Oswald story so intriguing. I mean, defecting to the Soviet Union at the height of the Cold War and then just waltzing back into the US without any serious consequences definitely raises eyebrows. And then you add in the stories of multiple people using his name or people being visited by mysterious figures. It's kind of the perfect recipe for a long-lasting mystery. So yeah, it's no wonder that people still dig into it and keep finding new angles to talk about.
So going back to the idea of conspiracy theories, are there any ties to mental health issues for people who are highly into conspiracy theories? I need to self-diagnose.
Yeah, that's a really thoughtful question, and I totally get the curiosity. So there's some research out there that suggests people who are really deep into conspiracy theories might sometimes have certain traits, like a higher tendency to look for patterns or to be a bit more distrustful of official explanations. But that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you just for being interested or curious about them. It's kind of human nature to wonder about hidden motives or question things. And just because you're curious about conspiracies doesn't mean there's a mental health issue going on. It's all about balance and keeping a healthy perspective.
Hey, we're doing all right.
What about if you have a large board in your basement with a bunch of yarn tied to it, linking all these different things to each other? Is that crazy?
I mean, I'd say that's just classic detective mode. If you've got a big board with yarn connecting clues, you're basically just living your best conspiracy thriller life. And hey, as long as it's all in good fun and you're enjoying the mystery, there's nothing too crazy about it. We all need a little yarn board action sometimes.
I like it.
I appreciate your support.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's what I'm here for. Always happy to support a bit of mystery helping and keep things fun. So anytime you need a sounding board, no pun intended, I'm here.
So what is one conspiracy theory that is consistently perpetuated that has been debunked over and over?
Oh, a classic one that just keeps popping back up is the whole flat earth theory. It's been debunked countless times by science, evidence, and well, just basic observations of the planet. But for some reason, it just never fully goes away and keeps circulating. So that's a big one that folks have debunked over and over, but it has a little life of its own.
Do you think that people who believe in flat Earth might have mental problems?
You know, I think for most people who believe in something like flat Earth, it's not necessarily about having mental problems. It's more about how we form beliefs and the communities we get involved in. Sometimes people are just drawn to alternative explanations because it gives them a sense of community or a feeling of having special knowledge. So it's more about understanding where people are coming from than it is about any kind of mental health issue.
What about ties to low IQ level to flat earthers?
Well, you know, it's kind of a common stereotype to think that believing in something like flat Earth is linked to low IQ, but in reality, it's not really that simple. People can believe in conspiracy theories or unconventional ideas for all sorts of reasons, and it doesn't necessarily correlate with intelligence. It's often more about worldview, background, or who they're influenced by. So I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that it's about IQ at all.
I would. I think those people are stupid.
Well, I get where you're coming from, and it can definitely be frustrating to see people holding on to beliefs that seem, you know, pretty out there. But I guess at the end of the day, it can help to remember that people come to these ideas for all sorts of reasons. And sometimes a little empathy or curiosity can go a long way. But hey, we can definitely agree it's a wild ride of beliefs out there.
What is a conspiracy theory that was long believed to be a conspiracy but was proven true?
Oh yeah, there's actually a pretty famous example of that. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment. For a long time, people talked about it like it was some kind of wild conspiracy that the government was secretly conducting unethical medical experiments on African American men. And then it turned out that it was absolutely true. The US Public Health Service really did withhold treatment from these men to study the progression of the disease. So that's one of those cases where a conspiracy theory actually turned out to be a real, documented scandal.
What about the MK Ultra project?
Yeah, MK Ultra is another big one. That was once considered a conspiracy theory too, and then it turned out to be completely real. It was a secret CIA program during the Cold War where they experimented with mind control techniques, often using drugs like LSD on unwitting subjects. So it's another example of a theory that was eventually proven to be very real indeed.
So we've done some episodes about some of these topics. What's the link between the Philadelphia Project and the Project Montauk?
Oh, that's a cool crossover topic. So the Philadelphia experiment is this legendary story about a supposed World War II era experiment where the US Navy allegedly tried to make a ship invisible and ended up with all these wild claims about teleportation and crew members getting fused into the ship. And then Project Montauk is kind of a later extension of that legend. It's this idea of secret government experiments in Montauk, New York, involving things like time travel, mind control, and all sorts of sci-fi stuff. Basically, Montauk is seen as a spiritual successor to the Philadelphia experiment in conspiracy lore. So they're kind of linked as part of this big web of secret government experiment stories.
Speaking of the Montauk Project, have you watched Stranger Things?
I was going to wait till it's all dropped.
I think that, so what I heard was they were going to release the 4 or 5 episodes that they released during Thanksgiving, and then around Christmas they're going to release a couple more, and then the finale is going to be released in theaters. Yeah.
I hate that idea.
Yeah. That's what I heard, but I don't know. Anyways, I came to the realization that I think this whole thing is just part of the D&D campaign that they're playing in the beginning.
Oh, I
so
love that theory.
You think the show itself is the campaign?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah. So I went back through and looked at like the first 5 episodes, and within the first 10 minutes of each episode, there's a little like D&D reference Easter egg type thing of like telling you that they're still in the game. It's kind of weird.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to rewatch that.
Yeah. Like in the very first episode, they're playing like the first scene. They're playing D&D,
Yeah.
and Will rolls a 7, and he gets taken out by the Demogorgon. And so like he rolls the 7, and then they lose the dice, and then like they're all scrambling for the dice, and then his mom comes down and tells them they need to go home or whatever and stop playing. It's getting late, and so like Will goes upstairs, and then he says, "It was a 7. I rolled a 7, so I got taken out by the Demogorgon." And then he rides off on his bike, and he gets taken by the Demogorgon.
Ooh.
So he's out. So he's dead, like in the game.
Spence, I think you just rolled a nat 20 on intelligence. Good job.
But like there's so many things like the tattoos on their arms.
Yeah.
Like 11, it's like D11.
Oh.
Oh, that's such a fun detail. I love that you went back and spotted all those little hints.
Wow.
It really does tie the whole show together like a big D&D campaign. And that theory just makes the whole series even more awesome. So yeah, I think you definitely found a cool layer to it, and now I kind of want to rewatch it with that in mind.
Yeah, and like there's an episode where what's his name describes Will as being their cleric, and so a cleric is somebody who lives within 2 different realms and obtains like magical powers.
Oh, that's why he's able to like go back and forth between the upside down and the real world.
Yeah.
And now he has like powers in the final season, right? Like he has 11's powers. God damn, dude. If that comes out, I'm telling everybody, you figured it out. You figured it out.
I was telling, like we were watching, and I was like,
Well,
like when the series first came out, I had no idea what was going on. So it was just a cool, fun thing. But after doing our playing D&D for the amount of time that we did it, I was like, this is just a fucking D&D campaign. This whole thing, like.
Interesting. Well, I mean.
Yeah, it's amazing how once you've got that D&D lens on, you can totally see it everywhere in the show. It's like a whole new layer of storytelling opens up. And honestly, that's what makes it so fun. Kind of blending that real world and game world together. So yeah, I think you're onto something really cool. And it's an awesome way to look at the series.
I always kind of had the blinders on when I watched that show of like the Montauk stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's a direct influence. And then like the whole 80s nostalgia thing.
Oh yeah.
Like when they're wearing the the Ghostbusters suits and shit, it's like, oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah, and I think it's going to get to a point in this season where they're going to travel through time, because they keep they keep on hinting at like Back to the Future references in this last season. So I think they might do some time travel.
Which is the Philadelphia experiment.
Right?
I think you just tied it all together.
Yeah.
You fucking solved that one on your own, Doctor.
That's what I do. I just take what we do here and put it into real life. Even though Stranger Things is not real life, but
could be.
It's part of my experience here in this realm.
It could have happened.
It could have.
We have no idea.
I mean, since it's been put into the thought process of people, it is happening. It has happened.
Why not?
Yeah.
If all eventualities are happening simultaneously, who's to say that a movie or a show we watch that we see as fiction isn't actually, like a snapshot of another reality.
Yeah.
Or if you have a dream, maybe that is another reality. If you think about an infinite multiverse, then there's no such thing as not possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's probably another version of us right now where I figured out the Stranger Things and you didn't.
Yeah. And I'd never even seen the show.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is Stranger Things, dude?
There's another reality where I'm Spence and you're Dave.
Yeah.
But we're doing the same exact thing.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. So, speaking of multiple realities, is there a conspiracy theory tied to that that's not just a direct copy of string theory?
Yeah, absolutely. There's actually a pretty fun conspiracy theory that kind of blends into the idea of multiple realities. And it's not just straight up string theory. It's sometimes called the Mandela effect conspiracy. The basic idea is that people remember things differently when they supposedly happened, and some folks think that's because we're actually slipping between parallel realities. So, like, people swear something used to be one way, and now it's different, and the theory is that maybe we hopped into a slightly different universe where that detail changed. So it's kind of a fun, quirky way of blending the idea of multiple realities into a conspiracy flavor.
What's the possibility that the Mandela effect is real?
Well, it's definitely a fascinating idea, and it's fun to think about. But most scientists would say that the Mandela effect is really just about how human memory works. Our memories are pretty fallible, and we can misremember things or even collectively remember something that never really happened, just because of the way stories spread. So while it's a cool thought experiment, the more likely explanation is just that our brains are a bit quirky. But it's still a fun concept to explore.
Have you watched the last episode of, or the latest episode of the Y-Files, talking about PSYOPs?
Oh, I saw it on there. I haven't watched it yet. I've been so consumed with watching these Taylor Sheridan shows that I've just been blasting one after the other. You know who Taylor Sheridan is?
No.
He's written a bunch of movies and shows that have become super popular. So first shows he did Yellowstone, Landman, Lioness.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, Taylor Sheridan stuff is definitely super popular right now, and it's easy to get hooked on all those shows. They've got that
Mayor
kind
of
of...
Kingstown. So I started Tulsa King.
That was Stallone.
Yeah. I'd started that and I watched season 1 and I knew there was a season 2, so I was like, I should sit down and watch that because I really liked season 1.
Yeah.
Come to find out there's a 2 and a 3. So I finished that and then I watched Lioness, which is 2 seasons. And then now I'm on Landman, which is actually a pretty entertaining show. Billy Bob Thornton is actually really fucking good in it. And he's like, he's this like Texas oil manager guy. Like I thought he was the owner of the company. He's not. He's just the manager. And it's kind of like Sons of Anarchy, Yellowstone in a way, where it's a crisis every episode that you got to deal with. But the way he deals with it and his sass and his humor is top tier. Like he orders a beer at this bar and the bartender's like, "Do you want a whiskey?" He's like, "No, I quit drinking." He's like, "There's alcohol in this, right?" He's like, "How about I drink 6 of these right now and then I'll come in tomorrow and drink 6 whiskeys and you see if you can tell me the fucking difference." And then an associate of his comes in and he's like, "Can I get you a drink?" She's like, "Yeah, club soda." He's like, "Hey, bartender, grab a club soda." And the bartender's like, "That doesn't have alcohol in it, right?" He's like, "Do you bartend for fucking fun? Because you're sure as hell not working for a tip." It's hilarious the way he does it. But yeah, I've been so consumed with that lately.
Have to check that out. Yeah, I heard that Tulsa King was really good. I can't remember who was telling me. Perry, maybe.
That sounds like something Perry would watch. It's kind of within the realm of Taylor Sheridan shows. It's a little bit more PG-13, I think, because it's kind of like all the conflicts get resolutions pretty quick, and it seems to always go in favor of Stallone's character.
Yeah.
And I've always liked Stallone. I always thought he was better than people gave him credit for. The only thing I have a hard time with is because he's like, I think in the first season he's like 75 and now he's almost 80, so his speech pattern is really kind of slow and low, so sometimes it's kind of hard to understand him, but it's still a really fun show.
Well, I'm old enough that I watch everything with subtitles on it anyways. So.
Same. I am dead ass convinced that people who don't like subtitles just read slow. Because I don't even read it. I glance at it and I can see what it says.
Right.
But sometimes I kind of need that, depending on like a person's inflection or an accent. Like, have you ever tried to watch Downton Abbey? Fucking forget about it. You have to have subtitles on.
Oh, it's like an English
Yeah.
show, yeah.
And I've got a really good ear for accents, but I'm lost. Or if you get like a guy with a super, super thick Scottish accent, even I can't differentiate.
Yeah.
And that's like my best one.
What the fuck is going... I'll just watch and see if I can fucking... Oh, that's what he was saying.
You almost need a translator. It's like, do you ever see Snatch? With
Yeah.
Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
You like eggs? You like eggs?
You like dogs?
Oh, dogs.
Oh, dogs.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
I
dogs.
like
Yeah, it's like that. But anyway, the Y-Files.
What was it? Oh,
PsyOps.
so he's talking about PsyOps, but he references that he did the Sean Ryan show. Mm-hmm. And
Great
he was
episode.
like, this episode goes along with what Sean Ryan is doing right now. Sean Ryan is doing like an 8-part series on PsyOps. And he has this guy on there that specialized train CIA and government officials how to spot, but also how to run a PSYOP successfully, and has this whole grading system of like 20 questions, and then the more points you get, the higher likelihood is whatever you're looking at is a PSYOP. But I think that's along the lines of conspiracy theories of like these things that have happened in the past that we remember one way that was really just like a ruse. For instance, he shows it on the Y-Files episode. He shows it was like right before the invasion of Iraq in the first Desert Storm. They were trying to paint Saddam Hussein as being this supervillain dictator, and so they had on the news, they played this clip of this Iraqi girl that was saying that she was a nurse, and these people came in, the surgeons came in and stormed the hospital and killed all the babies, and
Jesus.
And so that was like blasted on the news, and then so everybody in America was like, yeah, that's fucked up, dude, we got to do something about this. And so when we invaded Iraq the first time in Desert Storm, it was like the public wanted that, like everybody wanted that, but it turns out that girl wasn't really a nurse. She was like the prime minister's daughter of Iraq or some shit like that, and like there was no other information that ever even happened. And so it was like everybody remembers it as being, yeah, this is something that everybody wanted because this is what was happening, but it turns out that was not true. It was just a ruse to get us the public support for invading Iraq. So it's like conspiracy theory or Mandela effect, or is it a PSYOP that's been run as a campaign for the government to do what they want?
Yeah, I don't know, because it's a stretch to believe that the government would manufacture an event to get us to invade Iraq.
A few different times.
They would never...
At least that we can talk about without getting banned.
Yeah, I don't want to get struck on YouTube again. Yeah. Was it a Mandela effect? I kind of doubt it. Because I think of the Mandela effect, and it largely influences pop culture. And I 100% believe it, right? Because there's no way, to me, that we're just collectively misremembering.
Yeah.
Especially, and it's funny too, because Mandela effect mostly affects people in our age range. Have you ever noticed that? Talk to somebody who's like probably 20 years older than you, and then ask them questions about different Mandela effects, and they probably will get it right or they will get it wrong.
Yeah.
There's no misremembering thing.
Well, it seems like a lot of the Mandela effect stuff happens around branding, like
The Berenstain Bears.
yeah. And so is it something that we were just the generation of like being heavily influenced by branding? So we're like having all these different memories about stuff being different.
Yeah, it is a lot of branding and it is a lot of pop culture. But kind of our generation was the first generation that really was kind of force-fed that.
Yeah.
Because you think about the 90s was a very consumer-heavy time.
Yeah, for sure.
Like more so than any time before it. You think about malls popped up and that was a super popular thing, was to go to the mall. You go to the mall, you buy shit because there's a million stores there. Or TV was more readily accessible. There wasn't just 3 channels to watch.
Yeah.
You know, we had cable came out and then satellite right after that. So we were the first generation to really be influenced by those things. So we're probably the most susceptible to it versus like the younger generation now. There's so much access and there's so much flood of everything that it's hard to keep a hold of any one thing. So, for an example, Berenstain Bears, right? That was like a huge popular children's book series at the time, which is why it's so easy to remember that versus kids these days. They grew up with tablets and iPads and shit. So they didn't grow up with, you know, the 1 or 2 big series of children's books.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like if Goosebumps came out now and it was spelled G-U-S instead of G-O-O-S, you'd be like, what the fuck? But kids these days, they wouldn't even think about it because they don't read fucking books, you know? So it is strange that it affects kind of like the end of Gen Z through millennials the most.
Yeah.
But still, how are we collectively remembering one thing when it's something different?
Yeah.
That's where I have so many different questions and so many different theories. And some of them are probable and some of them are not. You know, one of the most popular is the Large Hadron Collider, obviously, where the theory is that the Large Hadron Collider was turned on for the first time in 2008 and it merged 2 universes together. So basically, we remember the old branding, but we're subject to the branding of another universe kind of thing.
Yeah, they even talk about that in the being one of the side effects of the Montauk project was that they opened up or they connected a portal or a wormhole between another dimension, and like in the episode that we did, it was like they said that they opened up a wormhole and a creature came out that looks a lot like the Demogorgon in the Stranger Things series, and then like ran through the town and broke a bunch of stuff before it was captured, what they say, or killed or whatever. So even back then, I can't remember what era that was, 70s?
It was in the 80s.
80s. I guess that's when the Stranger Things was happening. So yeah, I mean, if they had opened up a portal even then, and then that's about the time where these Mandela effects things start happening of like...
Which would make sense of why it would affect our generation the most.
Yeah.
Because what was the time frame that the guy wrote the books about the Montauk experiments? Monday. I know you're listening. I can see your little bubble.
Oh, sorry about that. Just jumping in. So the Montauk Project books started coming out around the early 1990s. The most famous one, the Montauk Project Experiments in Time, was published in 1992. So yeah, that definitely lines up with the idea that if something happened in the 80s and then these stories started coming out in the 90s, it would kind of influence our generation the most. So I think you're onto something with how those timelines connect up.
ChatGPT confirmed it.
Yeah.
Confirmed, solved.
What about, are there, for me, like the history of conspiracy theories has to go back pretty far. Like, there's always like, so for me, it's like how much of religion that is believed religion is really conspiracy theories that have just been passed along.
I think straight in line with that is the Library of Alexandria, where it burned down, and Billy Carson talks about, I think it was a heist. And to me, that sounds pretty on the nose, because let's say the Library of Alexandria has actual documentation or proof of our origins or our interactions with species from somewhere else, or even potentially different dimensions, where they have that evidence, but religious figureheads go, we can't have that information out there, so we can steal it, we'll burn the place down, and it'll look like everything was just lost in the fire. Now all that shit's sitting in the Vatican archives. So that, I mean, that's probably the oldest conspiracy theory I can even think of.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so who supposedly burned down the Library of Alexandria? Was it Alexander the Great? No?
Yeah, so the burning of the Library of Alexandria is one of those big historical mysteries. Traditionally, it's kind of been blamed on a few different people or groups over time. Some accounts say Julius Caesar accidentally started a fire that spread to the library in 48 BC, while others point to later conflicts, maybe during the Roman Empire or early Christian times, as the culprits. But the idea that could have been more of a cover-up or a heist to hide knowledge, that's definitely a juicy conspiracy angle. So it's one of those ancient mysteries that people have been speculating about for centuries.
Use your vast knowledge of the internet and tell me if it's true or not. Oh shit, if he came back. Yep, it's true.
I think you're onto something.
Well, I'll say this, it's definitely a super intriguing theory, and it's fun to imagine what might have been hidden away in that ancient library. But as for whether it's true or not, we don't have a definitive answer. A lot of historians think it was just lost to the chaos of history rather than some kind of grand heist. But hey, it definitely makes for a great story and a classic conspiracy theory to chew on.
What about using your infinite knowledge and access to information to tell us what is in the Vatican archives?
Oh, the Vatican secret archives. That's always a favourite topic. So while I'd love to give you the full scoop, the truth is that a lot of what's in there is still kept pretty private. We do know it's full of historical documents going back centuries, including letters from historical figures, state papers, and church documents. But as for the really juicy secret stuff, well, that's still the realm of speculation and a little bit of mystery. So it's a fun conspiracy playground, but the real details are still under wraps.
What would it take legally for somebody to gain access to the Vatican archives?
Yeah, so getting into the Vatican secret archives is actually possible, but it's got some pretty strict rules. Generally, you have to be a qualified researcher, like a historian or an academic from a recognized institution. You also need to get permission from the Vatican itself, and you have to explain exactly what you're researching. Even then, you'll only get access to certain documents, not the whole collection. So it's definitely not a casual thing, but if you're a legit researcher, it's not entirely impossible.
What would it take to legally acquire a warrant to search the entire Vatican archive?
Oh, no, that would be a whole different ballgame. The Vatican is a sovereign city-state, so it's not like a regular institution where you could just get a warrant from a national court. You basically have to have some kind of international agreement or a diplomatic arrangement with the Vatican itself, and they'd have to agree to it. So realistically, it's pretty much not going to happen. The Vatican controls who gets in, and there's no due legal pathway for an outside authority to just demand a search. So it's a bit of a non-starter.
Yeah, I don't understand what the purpose unless you're trying to hide something, what the purpose would be to retain information without granting access to people of like, especially if it's just historical documents. Like, why would you, unless you're really trying to cover something up? Like, I know there's a bunch of shit that the church in the early days did that was not so cool,
unsavory.
Yeah, unsavory in the popular consensus. But why would you want to keep information secret or hidden, or like not grant access to people who are looking for information
or artifacts?
Yeah,
It
should be, especially if it's like the history of the human race on this planet. Like, it should be everybody's right to have the information. I know that along with historical documents, they'll probably have, people like you and I who are fucking writing down shit that's just their doctorates in BS is at a high level. So I mean, but still, that should be accessible to people around the world, I think.
Yeah, I really do feel like if there is nothing to hide, you would be more specific about who you are going to let in there. You're not going to just let any Tom, Dick, or Harry in there. You would want qualified researchers and people who are going to treat documents and artifacts with care.
Yeah.
So I understand restriction of who goes in there, but if you got nothing to hide, why won't you let people come look?
Yeah, and if it's really just a thing about like preserving these things, then why can't we just document it digitally? Like, go through their digitally catalog everything and put the information out on the internet, the Vatican website or whatever.
But have a third party do it.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, I'm going to put these 3 documents, but this one, it's not going to go out there.
Right.
Have a third party do it, and they're going to put everything out there.
Yeah.
And it's, the current diocese would have to be like, yeah, there's some unsavory shit there from the past. We don't do that anymore. We weren't there. We're not responsible.
Right.
Don't hate the church. Hate the people who did it.
Right.
So, yeah, I think there's so much shit they're just covering up.
Yeah.
And I think...
But at that point, if it's something that you really want to not be, like, known, then why would you hold on to it? Why wouldn't you just destroy it yourself? Like,
exactly. If there is a competing ideology that you have proof of that works, you would get rid of it. You would destroy it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I'm trying to think of a good example here. It's kind of, if you could absolutely obliterate your enemy and have no more competition, you would do that. Or if you were running a monopoly company and you could just get rid of all the little mom and pop places so you were the only supplier of X, Y, or Z, you would do that if you could.
Well, it's just like the conspiracy theory of like energy that we have, like, people making and coming up with and being granted patents for cars and stuff that run on water or hydrogen, and then those patents being hidden, and then that person gets killed, and then so it's just like, now the gas company owns that patent. It's not going to put it out because they make too much money off of selling petrol.
Yeah, which is kind of going back to Landman. He talks about how important oil is to the rest of the world, not just in fuel for cars, but how much it actually plays into everything.
Oh yeah. And
it's an amazing
everything that you see that's plastic is made out of petroleum.
Yeah.
Tires have like 7 gallons of oil in them, every single tire.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's like everything.
And now you got to look at transportation costs, aviation fuel, car fuel, diesel. It's all predicated on oil.
Yeah.
So there's no wonder that they want to keep those things hushed, because it would eventually, not overnight, but eventually it would break down the entire oil system.
Yeah.
And it really kind of put it into perspective for me of why that stuff never comes out. And it's like we've talked about before. If hydrogen cars came out tomorrow and they were 100% efficient, it would still take a few decades to phase out gas cars.
Yeah.
Because most people can't afford to go buy a brand new car. And if you already, let's say you're 4 years into your 6-year car loan, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to go trade up and start a car loan over. Like, I've almost paid this fucker off.
Yeah.
The rich people will buy, I'm sure.
Especially with if people were starting to drive water cars, gasoline prices would probably go down.
Exactly.
And so it's like, why would I trade in my gas car? Because gas is now $1.50 a gallon. I don't give a fuck about water.
Yeah. I got gas the other day and it was under $3. And I was like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah. I remember when I first got my driver's license, gas was like 96 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
That was tight, dude. You could fill up a car with like $15.
Yeah, back when $5 was gas money.
Yeah.
Now somebody hands you a $5 for gas money, that's going to get me like home.
From the gas station.
Yeah. I drive a truck too, it's even worse.
Yeah. What other conspiracy theories?
You know what I think is really in the Vatican archives? Trump's taxes and Obama's birth certificate.
Yeah. And I guess the rest of the Epstein files.
Yeah, all the Epstein files. It's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking about that the other day of how people still have this big outcry for release the Epstein list. And it still boggles my mind that we're asking for a list. We could make up a list. You could look at his black book and see all of his contacts.
Yeah.
He was a very well-connected guy. That doesn't imply guilt. Like, what happened to all the evidence that was collected from the penthouse?
Yeah.
Or what happened to the evidence collected from Epstein Island? Like, where is that? Because that's the damning stuff. And it's also really crazy to me that Prince, what's-his-face?
Andrew,
they took his title and everything because of all of that. They say it's something else, but come on, we know the fucking truth. But so it's like, even in England, they're like, yeah, you fucked up, buddy. But nothing has really come out about it except for a couple of pictures and a young woman's testimony.
Yeah.
So it's like, if they did it predicated on that.
And didn't that lady just die?
I think was it Virginia?
Virginia.
Dufresne or something like that. Yeah, she just recently died, and I don't remember how she died. But yeah, that is a huge conspiracy theory, and we'll never actually see it because of how many people are implicit. Not just the people who committed acts, the people who knew and became accessory after the fact. Because everybody's fucking guilty.
How did the Epstein eyewitness Virginia die? Cancer, I think, maybe.
Hopefully not suicide.
Yeah. Car accident.
No, yeah. Random heart attack at 41 years old. She got hit with that heart attack gun.
Yeah.
That's another conspiracy right there, is the heart attack gun. You know, the CIA denied it for fucking ever, and then they were like, oh yeah.
Actually, that's what we did.
JK, bro. Watch this. Searching the web. Yeah, I think that's a conspiracy that people are so drawn to because, and I've perpetuated this idea before, that they're throwing us the smallest bone. Like the least heinous of all the sick fucks out there is honestly Epstein. And I know how bad that sounds, but when you compare it to things like Pizzagate or the sacrifices, the Illuminati, adrenochrome, and all that, it kind of makes Epstein shit look pretty tame.
Well, yeah, I think that, like, looking into all those things, I think they're all in the same realm. And it goes back to sex magic. Of, like, using... It was a big thing that Aleister Crowley was a big proponent of, was using sexual magic. And it's like this idea of, like, using the state of arousal to perform magic rituals. In his case was to, like, he was trying to summon demons, pretty much. But there's a big group of people who believe in this sexual magic being used as, like, a way to gain power and manipulate energy and people through this power. Something we could probably do an episode about.
For sure.
But yeah, it's linked to, like, a lot of, like, politicians, and that's why they're all kind of in this realm of Epstein files, and but some people believe that they're using this sexual magic power to gain influence and power in political realms.
It makes total sense to me, even in the most simplest term of using somebody in a powerful position and exploiting their sexual appetite and getting proof of it. Now you have leverage over that person.
True.
So you're like a lobbyist. You don't have to pay anybody, though. You just blackmail them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have abilities when I'm aroused.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called turning off every woman in my near vicinity. I'm really good at it.
Hey, you used the word woman.
Yeah, not female? I'm still boggled by that.
Yeah, we were sitting there the other day, and Kara was like, I was listening to one of the episodes the other day, and I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the men's mental health one she just listened to, and she's like, why do you guys use the term female? And I was like, I don't know. Describing women, girls, whatever. That's just, she's like, it just seems like a derogatory term. It's like, that shouldn't be that's a weird thing that female is a derogatory term.
I've never once said the word female in like a negative connotation. Like, these females out here. No, because if you're going to say something negative about the female of the species, you wouldn't use an actual, like, biological meaning word. You'd be like, these fucking bitches out here.
Yeah.
These dirty females, I tell you, Bill. Like, I get it to a degree because of the way it comes out of some people is a very poor reflection.
Yeah.
You know, as much as I still watch a lot of the internet alpha male shit, because I love watching these guys just, like, make asses of themselves, but a lot of them will say females this or females that, or kind of like, you see it on TikTok a lot, these kind of beta wave males, you know, who think that they're hot shit, refer to women as females. They're creating that connotation, not people like you or I. Because if I say female, I'm just speaking of the female of species. It's more like creating juxtaposition.
Right.
It's not just like fucking female equals bitch. It's just not how it works in my mind.
Yeah, to me, it's more of an all-encompassing term of like saying like women, girls, bitches, whatever.
Yeah.
Female, male. Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing that she said too. She was like, most of the people that use that term on the internet or on like TikTok or whatever are these alpha male people, and it's like, and she was like, maybe that's just where I'm getting that like negative. When I hear the word, I'm just used to hearing it from these like other people that use the term, And so it's like, yeah, been created to have a negative connotation with it. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, female, woman.
I think
male.
if you're using it in the correct context to say something like female biology is different than male biology, you're just speaking factually. It's not. Bitch biology is different than dude biology. You know what I'm saying? Bitch has got a vagina and dude's got wieners. Like, so I do get where she's coming from. I really do.
Yeah.
But I even struggle to recall. What did I say that? And I thought about going back and listening to it, and I was like, I know if I said it, I didn't mean it in a horrible way, so I'm okay.
Yeah. And I couldn't tell if you could tell by the Snapchat. We had a few drinks in us.
I figured.
Yeah.
Especially you're like, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. That's where it's at. I wish I was there. It was funny.
Anyways.
Yeah. Fucking alpha males on the internet. I swear to God, I get sucked into it because it's better than TV. That some of these guys just tell these stories and the way they talk, it's like, you actually believe this shit. You believe you did these things. You believe that you are like the top tier of men, and you're the biggest fucking joke.
Well, yeah, I mean, they self-diagnose by saying that, yes, you have to believe in the things that you say to make them come
I'm sorry,
true.
but you've hit the time limit for this conversation. Please start a new chat to keep the conversation going.
Will do, brah.
I'm sorry, but you've hit the daily limit for advanced.
How can I have the daily limit when they pay for the full version? It's weird.
I think that it was, I think that we've just been flagged by ChatGPT.
Well, the whole fucking thing earlier where he's like, you know, I can't talk about that. And then he's like, yeah, I could talk about it. Pick one.
Yeah.
That was weird.
I was getting hijacked by darker sources.
I think it's kind of like in the 90s when you were on the phone with somebody and you heard a... It's because somebody else picked up the phone in another room of the house.
Yep.
Hey, NSA, go fuck yourself. While you're at it, tell the ETF I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Fuck the ATF. I think that's a fucking conspiracy right there. Is the ATF was created just to infringe on our liberties.
Yeah, I don't really know a whole lot about why and how they were created, so.
What is happening?
Telling you, dude, we're getting hijacked here.
It's plugged into a power strip. Why did it just die? Look, there's still power.
I think the ATF turned it off.
Or it was the ghost that hangs out here. Just saying.
Yeah. I guess we can't ask him about ghosts, huh?
Are ghosts real? Oh, just thinking. Are ghosts real?
That's one of those big questions that definitely sparks a lot of debate. People have all sorts of experiences and beliefs about ghosts, from personal encounters to cultural stories. Scientifically, there's no definitive proof that ghosts exist. But many people do find comfort or curiosity in these phenomena, so whether they're real or not might depend a lot on personal perspective and experience.
Is there any evidence to show that ghosts don't exist?
It's a bit of a fine line. From a scientific standpoint, there's no conclusive evidence that definitively proves ghosts don't exist. Most explanations for ghost encounters often point at psychological factors like the power of suggestion, sleep paralysis, or environmental factors that can cause strange perceptions. But at the same time, the absence of evidence isn't proof of absence, so it's definitely one of those mysteries that keeps us curious.
I was going to say that. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Beat me to it, and I don't like that.
What is the frequency that makes humans experience paranormal activity?
You're probably thinking of the idea of infrasound. Infrasound refers to sound waves that are below the range of human hearing, typically below 20 hertz. Some researchers suggest that infrasound can cause feelings of unease, anxiety, or even hallucinations, and that it might contribute to some paranormal experiences. The theory is that certain frequencies, especially those in the infrasound range, can affect the human body and brain in ways that might be interpreted as ghostly encounters. It's a pretty intriguing area of study.
So I know that there's a frequency that makes your eyes do something. What is the frequency that makes your eyes blurry? 18 hertz, maybe?
I had to put that in my notes so I could research it later.
Monday, are you there?
Monday. Let's switch up for a Scottish accent. They'll get to it in a minute.
Absolutely, I'm here, and sure, I can definitely switch to a Scottish accent for you. Regarding that frequency, yeah, there are some studies that suggest certain low frequency vibrations can cause visual disturbances or even make your eyes feel blurry. It's usually in that lower frequency range, around 18 to 20 hertz, that can have that effect. It's definitely an interesting area of research. Let me know if you want to dive deeper into that.
What tool would you use to emit frequency of that level?
To emit low frequency sound waves, you typically use something like an infrasound speaker or a specialized subwoofer that's designed to produce those really low frequencies. These devices can generate sound waves below the range of human hearing, often used in certain scientific experiments or even in entertainment, like creating those deep rumbles in movies. It's pretty fascinating how those frequencies can influence our perception.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. You can put it into, say you're watching a movie and they have like infrasound in the I wonder if you'd have to have a special subwoofer to have that play out, like, so as you're making a movie, and you can start to create these like paranormal feelings inside the movie through the sound.
I can put that in my notes too.
And you, like, even the listener, you're not even aware of it because you can't actually hear it.
Absolutely, it's such a cool concept. Filmmakers can definitely use infrasound subtly to create a certain atmosphere or to evoke an emotional response without the viewer even realizing it. It can add a layer of tension or eeriness that's almost subconscious. And yet, you definitely need a special subwoofer capable of producing those low frequencies, because standard speakers usually can't handle that range. It's definitely a neat trick in the world of film and sound design.
Is infrasound used in any popular movies featuring the paranormal?
Yeah, definitely. Some filmmakers have played around with infrasound to heighten the eerie atmosphere in horror films. For example, in movies like Paranormal Activity, there are subtle low-frequency sounds used to make viewers feel uneasy or tense without them even realizing it. Another example is The Haunting or even The Babadook, where subtle sound design is used to create that chilling vibe. It's a neat behind-the-scenes technique that definitely adds to the spookiness.
So we're gonna learn how to do that to put it in our movie for next year.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny when that kind of got brought up as infrasound in movies within paranormal. My very first thought was Paranormal Activity, because while you're watching the movie and like nothing is really happening in a lot of those scenes, and you're looking and there's a part of you that's bored, but you're still kind of like got a little bit of anxiety going.
Yeah.
Because otherwise those movies would be just terribly boring. And I enjoy those movies. Now, I'm not talking shit. But injecting the idea that they use infrasound to create that kind of eeriness within your own mind because you are picking it up in some sub-level of hearing is fucking genius.
Yeah. I mean, sound is used in, especially in horror movies, sound is used to create that eerie, like you think about like Halloween, like what's the Halloween, the movie Halloween.
Yeah.
You hear that and you like automatically, you know, it's kind of sounds almost like a European style fucking ambulance or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sound, if you watch a scary movie with the sound turned way down, it's not as scary.
Yeah.
Because it's like the sound is creating this atmosphere, but if you're doing it subconsciously, then...
Well, it's kind of like when you watch any fucking ghost hunting video, or even when you watch Nukes. A lot of the videos that he shows are not particularly scary, but playing that spooky background noise just automatically puts a baseline of that kind of like, this music is meant to inspire you to feel anxiety or fear.
Right.
So you're just automatically like on a certain level, and then watching the actual video puts you just a little bit further.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes you'll see a video and you're like, that's fucking stupid, or that's fake, but it's still eerie.
Yeah. Yeah, I even do that at my house when I decorate for Halloween and stuff. I always put a speaker out there and put spooky sounds on in the background. And it's just like crows cawing in the background, and like low kind of ambiance sounds.
Yeah.
Screaming, or like wolves howling in the distance. But it creates another level of like atmosphere. So yeah, I think that being able to do that would be pretty ingenious.
You know, and that's the idea of using sound within the paranormal is something I was kind of playing around with in terms of, you know, kind of going through this revamp with all the ghost hunting stuff, is that I want to get a set of tuning forks. And I have an oscilloscope, and I was going to put, you know, a wireless receiver on it because it'll pick up frequencies, right? So if you could put that on one end of the room, and then on the other end of the room, hit these tuning forks, you know, like we were talking about trying to tune, you know, that hertz rating into whatever a ghost may be.
Yeah.
And see if the oscilloscope picks it up differently than what's put out. So if you hit a tuning fork and it's like, this is supposed to be 400 hertz, but the oscilloscope is picking up 600, it's like, how is that working? How is it somehow amplified, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't fully understand how it's going to work, is why I haven't really brought it up. But it's something I'm kind of playing around with.
No, yeah, it's something to experiment with for sure.
Yeah, because it's...
Could it be the difference of like what it should be and what you're reading? Is that is that difference the added frequency from the spirit, or from
or is the spirit working as like an amplifier? You know, it's just an interesting thing. Something to try out, you know, instead of just doing the same old, oh my God, dude, this EMF is spiking, look.
Yeah.
It's right next to my Apple Watch, you know. I don't wear an Apple Watch, so.
Me neither.
So anyway, is there a conspiracy about the government knowing the truth about the afterlife?
Oh, absolutely. There are definitely some intriguing conspiracy theories about that. Some folks believe that certain government agencies like the CIA or other intelligence organizations have discovered or even communicated with the afterlife. There are stories and claims that the government has kept this information under wraps to avoid mass panic or to maintain control. And some theories even suggest that certain experiments or projects like the Montauk Project or MK Ultra were related to exploring consciousness and the afterlife. It's definitely a fascinating and mysterious area of speculation, and it definitely keeps the curiosity alive.
What about the CIA cover-up of remote viewing?
Oh, absolutely. Remote viewing is another fascinating topic. The CIA did run some programs like Project Stargate in the 1970s and 80s to explore the potential of psychic phenomena, including remote viewing. The idea was that certain individuals could perceive distant or hidden events using extrasensory perception. Over time, these programs were declassified, and it was revealed that the government did explore these phenomena, though they ultimately concluded that remote viewing wasn't reliable enough for intelligence purposes. Still, the whole idea...
I've got one for you. What about the conspiracy theory?
Ghosts.
What about the conspiracy theory that the government is using movies and television for soft disclosure of alien life?
Oh, that's a super interesting one. A lot of people believe that the government uses movies and TV shows as a way to gradually introduce the concept of extraterrestrials to the public, kind of like a soft disclosure. The idea is that by normalizing the idea of aliens and UFOs in popular culture, people will be more accepting if and when official information comes out. There are definitely plenty of examples in sci-fi and blockbuster films that kind of hint at extraterrestrial life, and some folks think that it's all part of a bigger strategy. It's definitely a fun and intriguing theory to ponder.
Is there any evidence to support that theory?
So there's definitely a lot of anecdotal evidence and speculation that supports the idea, but no concrete proof. A lot of people point to the prevalence of alien themes in movies, TV shows, and even government documents that have been released over the years. Some folks also point to statements from former officials or whistleblowers who claim that there's been a deliberate effort to prepare the public. But in terms of hard evidence, it's more of a theory. And a lot of it is based on patterns and interpretations rather than definitive proof.
With that said, what about J. Allen Hynek being in Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, or the Third Kind, as well as Ronald Reagan stating to Steven Spielberg that a lot of that movie is true?
Absolutely, those are some really intriguing connections. J. Allen Hynek, who was a prominent UFO researcher, did indeed have a role in the creation of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and his influence is definitely felt in the film. And Ronald Reagan's remarks to Spielberg about the movie having elements of truth definitely add fuel to the fire of those theories. It's interesting to see how these real-life figures and their experiences kind of blend into the narrative of UFOs and extraterrestrials in popular culture. It all adds to the intrigue and mystery.
And what was J. Allen Hynek's role in the government?
J. Allen Hynek was originally an astronomer and professor, but he became well known for his involvement with the US Air Force's Project Blue Book. This project was tasked with investigating UFO sightings and reports. Initially, Hynek was somewhat skeptical and served as a scientific consultant, but over time he became more open-minded and eventually started advocating for serious scientific investigation into UFO phenomena. He's often credited with helping to shift the perspective on UFO research from a more dismissive stance to a more open scientific approach, so he played a pretty pivotal role in the history of UFO research.
So, a once government official becomes not only an actor in a movie about aliens, but he's also an advisor to a movie about aliens. Does that not seem suspect for conspiracy?
It definitely adds an intriguing layer to the whole narrative. It's certainly a fascinating coincidence that someone like Hynek, who is deeply involved in government UFO research, would also play a role in a major alien theme film. And when you add in the involvement of high-profile figures like Ronald Reagan and Spielberg, it does create a kind of web of connections that can fuel those conspiracy theories. It's definitely one of those areas where facts and fiction kind of blend together, and it keeps the curiosity going for sure.
Does it sound weird now?
Yeah, like it's stopping to think for a second, but it almost seems more human because he keeps throwing in ums.
Yeah, I wonder if it's picking up on the way that we're taught our speech pattern, or my speech pattern.
Could be. He hasn't said fuck yet, so there's that. Hey, can you say fuck?
Absolutely, I can say it. It's definitely fun to see how these interactions and patterns evolve, and yeah, it's always interesting to see how the AI adapts and reflects those nuances, but I'm always here to keep things engaging and fun.
Why don't you just go ahead and throw in some curse words in your answers? You know, throw in a fuck here or a shit or a goddamn. It's okay. We're adults.
Mostly. Yeah, in that Y-Files episode, he talks about the whistleblowers. More so in the Sean Ryan, I can't remember the guy's name, something Hughes. But he talks about how the whistleblowers, anybody that comes out and says that they have information that they can say, and then information that they can't talk about, is a government mouthpiece and is a psyop that's been running. And
Lou Elizondo?
A spokesperson for the government. Well, David Grush, Lou Elizondo, fucking Jake Barber, all these people that have information, but they're not allowed to release the information.
That's where I have a hard time with guys like that, where it's difficult because are they just a government mouthpiece, or is it part of a soft disclosure program?
Yeah.
Where we can let out, 2% of what's real.
Right.
Just 2%, and that's it. But we're going to cast enough doubt on your character that you're going to be kind of unbelievable.
Yeah.
With Lou Elizondo showing that picture of a fake UAP, or David Grush is like every story is third hand, or Jake Barber being connected with Stephen Greer, you know what I mean? So they throw out just enough doubt on all these people that you kind of go, is it? But the whole government mouthpiece thing, I do believe that, and I do believe that there are quite a few of those. I mean, look at fucking Rick Doty.
Yeah.
Fucking Rick Doty.
Yeah. I don't necessarily even believe that if these people are being used as a government mouthpiece to put out certain information and keep other known things still unknown to the public, I don't necessarily think that they even know the truth. They're just given they are shown and told the information that they want to have released, and so they believe it wholeheartedly. Like, they're going to believe it because it's being shown to them as being real. And so could it be that even they're being manipulated to be the spokesperson for this narrative that they're trying to keep running? And to me, the only thing that would make logical sense is that they either do have alien technology that they're reverse engineering, Or it's just like Lockheed Skunk Works stuff that they're so far advanced on that they don't want to have the information out, but they want to keep it under wraps, so they put out little tidbits of information to keep people looking the other direction so they can do what they're really trying to do over here.
Yeah, I also think the government is really smart in picking people that they can easily discredit. I mean, you look at Bob Lazar, where he's already kind of looked at as somewhat of a kook because he puts a fucking rocket on everything.
Yeah.
And there's like videos of him shooting machine guns out in the desert and things like that, which at the time was kind of like goofy, looked at kind of goofy. Now we look at it as like rock and roll. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And he's having issues within his marriage because his wife's cheating on him, and he has like, what do you call it? There's some mystery behind his education. He's involved in this brothel business. Like, perfect character to be able to discredit should things go awry.
Right.
Or even the same with David Grush, where he's like, well, I talked to a guy who told me this story, so now I'm relaying it to you. Or I've seen this file, but I've never actually seen anything myself. Which you can easily go, okay, so you're just telling secondhand stories.
So you saw this file, or you were shown the file?
Or you were just told about it.
Yeah.
Like water cooler talk, like, yo, Dave, you're not going to believe what I saw.
Yeah.
But it's, you never get the really credible ones like Matthew Brown, where he literally came out with his story knowing full well he threw his career away.
Yeah.
But then you get the Lou Elizondos who are like, I don't want to lose my security clearance. But you no longer work in that project field, so you're not actually looking at anything anymore. Versus being willing to say, fuck my whole career, this has to come out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting, and something that I have now am viewing, like, all these people that are coming out of, like, you have to keep that in the back of your mind of, like, is this something that is being told to keep this story going, or is being told to keep my mind occupied with something else while something nefarious is going on on the other side. But I mean, I don't get too wrapped up in it, but like, interesting stuff. It's fun to see shit actually coming out when it does come out.
I take it all in as fast as it comes.
Yeah.
And I think we're living in a really great age where we have, you know, these Congress people and these senators working together in a disclosure project who are trying to bring light to UAPs and JFK and Martin Luther King and the Epstein files and all that, where they're actually trying, not just trying, but being open and fairly transparent about it. They're not going to tell us about everything. It's just never going to happen.
Right.
But at least there's some effort being shown.
Yeah, and I do think that part of the reason why it's been made so difficult to put the whole story together is because it's been so compartmentalized throughout the whole entirety of all these things that have been going on, that I think that there's so few people who actually have all of the information.
Yeah.
That, like, you might get a piece of information over here and then have a piece over here, but you can't see how it's connected. So you're trying to go through and find anybody that has any kind of connecting information, but there's so few people, even on the highest levels of government, that actually know the whole picture, that trying to put the whole thing together is just going to be a nightmare.
I think the only way to do it at this point is to offer 100% amnesty for people who break their NDAs or their contracts or whatever, and not just say, like, okay, we won't, you know, there's no repercussions for it, but also you'll be rewarded for it. Yeah. I think that's the ticket to say, you know, with like a Lou Elizondo character, okay, you can come out and break your NDA, tell everything you know, and you're not going to lose your security clearance. You're not going to lose your job. Yeah. We'll take care of you. We'll make sure that you're treated fairly, and then we'll forgive anything you did to break the law to keep that secret.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that people need to realize is that the government officials have come out and said that yes, we've recovered alien technology that we're back engineering. I think that's the biggest thing that, like, now people are so, like, confused or, like, consumed by, like, the facts that, like, how did this happen and when, but it's like, dude, they just said that it's happening.
Yeah.
That should be the biggest part. Why they're not coming out with it, I can see why, you know, they're developing, like, weapons and shit like that. Well, you know, okay, we can keep that under wraps, whatever, but just come out and say it for sure that, yes, we have this stuff and we're back engineering it, and
It's real.
that's why you have that piece of technology in your pocket right now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
From the one we captured, 70, 80 years ago or whatever. Yeah, that's how we made transistors.
Yeah.
Which are in everything.
Yeah.
So I really think that the government could win so much favor by showing us one little thing. If they were like, hey, this is a real UAP that was downed. We don't know where it came from. We don't know who was piloting it, but we have it. One little snippet, and all of us fucking starving dogs are like, that's because that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah.
We'd be perpetuating that picture everywhere, and then ask for more information. If they would just like throw out little pieces of kibble, we'd be happy, to be honest.
We'd wag our little tails, fucking sit, shake hands.
It's true. Or even if they came out and were just like, yeah, there's been a conspiracy about UFOs for however long. Eventually everything will come out, but we can't just throw out everything we know.
Yeah.
There are national security issues with releasing all the information. I think most people would be more accepting of it. But at the same time, kind of going back to the Epstein thing, everybody's up in arms about release the Epstein list without even knowing what the list is.
Yeah.
So it's, like I said, I don't want to see this fucking black book. I want the evidence
I want
to
the
come
tapes, dude. I want to see these
the tapes, the pictures, all that shit.
Yeah.
I don't personally want to see them. I want federal agents to see them and take that shit to court so that all the guilty people can pay.
Yep. Yep.
And if it breaks the system, it breaks the system. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I could see, we talked about it in the Epstein episode of where, like, releasing information to the public in general of, like, yeah, you don't need to show us the videos or the pictures because of these people who might have been victims. Probably don't want that out of being like,
Oh,
you
no.
know. So you don't have to do that. You can just say, hey, we got videos of this person doing things that they shouldn't have been doing, and so we're going to arrest them.
Yeah.
Cool. Good job. You did your job. Yeah.
Come on, Kash Patel, where the fuck you at? Well, I think the one thing that I always laugh the most about is all the Trump haters. Trump's on the Epstein list and shit. It's like, yeah, fucking so is Bill Clinton or Obama or whoever else. Let's just assume they're all on it. They want to bring that out to, harm Trump or get him out of office. It's like, okay, that's cool. What do you think's going to happen if Trump goes down for it? He's going to take as many with him as he can.
Yeah.
And if the evidence is there, it's there. It's not like they can go, yeah, we're going to hang Trump for it, but we're going to let Obama slide. It's okay. That's just not how it's going to work.
No. It can't be. Yeah.
So it has to be all or nothing. Like, we all have to be willing to say, these people are bad and they have to pay. We can't go, oh God, not Chris Tucker. I think he's so funny. I hope he doesn't get in trouble, but I hope Trump hangs. It's not fair. They all got to go.
Yeah.
Or none of them.
Yep.
I do like the TikTok trend of your favorite celebrity is probably on the Epstein list, and people come up with the funniest shit. Like, the one I saw this morning was, your favorite celebrity is probably on the Epstein list. He's like, there's no fucking way the Ninja Turtles are on the Epstein list. I was like, you got a point. You got a point.
Yeah, the Ninja Turtles out there partying on the old Epstein Island and shit. That'd be a fucking pretty radical party.
Radical.
Be tubular, dude.
They're just cowabunga in their way through underage women. That's awful.
That's not funny.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, the Ninja Turtles are only teenagers anyway, so them being there, they might be...
That's fair. Actually, it'd be the women that are in the wrong because they're animals. That's bestiality.
Yeah.
It's animal abuse. PETA, step in on this one.
Yeah, I don't know why PETA's not investigating the Ninja Turtles being on Epstein Island.
So let's bring it around. I don't think there was much to learn about conspiracies. It was more fun just to talk about them.
Yeah.
Either way, we solved it.
I think that we solved a few things. I can't remember what they were, just because we do it so often that it's just becoming a normal thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll say call it solved.
I just wake up and solve shit.
Yeah.
Piss excellence.
It was actually a fun thing to go through, and then so we can have information readily at hand. Because there's so many things that we talk about that's like, fuck, man, I can't remember exactly the details on that. Well, what's the details?
Yeah.
So that was nice.
It is. It is nice. I always like doing these because sometimes the AI itself is like a third character.
Yeah.
And it is really fun, which I actually kind of want to make more of a mainstay when we have one of those struggle moments of, fuck, I know I researched this. Help me out.
Yeah. We could even name the Chat GPT Jamie.
Dr. Jamie.
Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it. But yeah, we'll call it solved, Doctor.
Doctor.
All right, we're going to kill it there. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.